walking, y'all, trying to stay ahead of the sugar cane. If I stop walking, y'all, the cane gonna trip me up. Yeah, come walk with me. Save your feet and toes. Yeah, I said, come walk with me. Save your feet and toes. 'Cause if I stop walking, y'all, they'll cut me up until I'm just a nose. Yeah, come walk with me and save your toes and feet. Yeah, I said, come walk with me. Save your toes and feet. 'Cause when you walk with me, you can eat the food you want to eat. I'm walking, y'all, trying to save my feet and toes. I said I'm walking, y'all, trying to save my feet and toes. 'Cause if I stop walking, y'all, they cut me up until I'm just a nose. Great ride, isn't y'all? Great ride, isn't? Welcome to the walk. Or get your mats, get your chairs, and all that stuff. Whew. I did 15 minutes again this morning, so I did all week. I'm going to be ready for that roller skating week on Monday. I'm going to be ready. Like, comment, share, tell uncle, tell auntie, tell a cousin, tell a friend. Let's get this walk started. 45 minutes. Okay. Camera issues. Oh, let me tell you. I must have. It reminded me of my old choir days. And I was with WestCon in Greenwich. It's a, if I say choral society, they'll say no. I forgot what they call them, but they sing all them old English songs or old German songs. Uh, yeah. About cherubs and all that kind of stuff. It was fun, but you know, by the time I sung that song, I'm walking, y'all. Whew, about 50 times. It's like I'm telling a story. It is something. I mean, I know I wrote it. I mean, I know it came out of me, but and yeah, I sung it, and it's the song we listen to. But it's brilliant. And it applies to everyone. Now, I remember when I shared it with my friend. Well, I haven't spoken to him in a while since I got back from Nevada. Him and his wife are doing well. And he said, "Oh, you wrote it about me?" And I was like, "No. I wrote about everybody who needs to exercise, especially at our age. Because sugar is in everything. Not you wouldn't buy it. And that little package of ketchup you put on your hamburgers, that's a teaspoon of sugar. Then wash that down with a Coke. I guess that's why y'all go Diet Coke, huh? Well, that's a Hatfield McCoy if ever I heard one. Oh. So, y'all know I listen to podcasts like all the time. And I have a podcast called The Pond Moves First, where I talk about my years of producing this public access show called Neighbors, where we teach the basics of chess through music, movement, and song. It's that's one thing about this human experience. I have found myself surrounded by people and interacting with people who, after I interact with them, I mean, it could be something about me, they have no memory of the interaction. No memory of the interaction. First 2 seasons of the Pawn Moves First, I called back in 2 cast members, and they hardly remember the experience. So when I look at the podcast where I ask them to come and talk about their experience in the show, you can see them right there on the video. One of them, the other one helped with the editing. And they have no memory. No memory. I already told y'all, I have 2 sisters from my mother that have no memory. Maybe now because they're older and they can't suppress it. But when they were younger, they would look me in my face and tell me they don't remember that childhood. They were so traumatized, they don't remember it. And I'm part of that traumatized memory. So, but I have a podcast called Pawn Moves First. It is brilliant. Like I said, we teach the basics of chess through music, movement, and song. And then I talk about it. It's just basically me solo. I invite people to come. But I got to put it out on the ethers because I don't know where my separation of matter energy will come from. And if I can put that back out there on a different ether. I had it on the public access ethers, but I want it now on the internet ethers. Though it is up on YouTube. And I just want to refresh it. And that's what I'm doing. So on Facebook, it's Neighbors TV. And that's where I put the podcast, Pawn Moves First. It's also on Spotify. The Pawn Moves First is on Spotify. And I got a podcast that I'll be working on. Now that I've come back from Nevada, that focus, that fear, that everything, that was a lot. It's been over 30 years since I was on a plane. Anxiety was high. And I couldn't drink. Because when the last drink I had was on Emancipation Proclamation Day. In celebration. And then my birthday was the month before. And something about that alcohol, honey. Whew. I had boiled cities. So I was like, I can't drink, but I need something to calm my nerves. Yes, I did. I went and bought me a pack of cigarettes. And that's what got me to Nevada. Because I was nervous as all get out. So, because you see Dr. Phil say it. Well, the doctors that Dr. Phil bring on his show say, you just don't drop an addiction or something you've been doing like that, especially drinking. You just don't drop it. You replace it. So I went back, got an old familiar. And that's how we made it through. And I'm on the treadmill. I'm breathing fine. I knocked out 15 minutes on the bike this morning. All this week. I breathe to breathe. I don't smoke to breathe. But boy, can I tell y'all something. Whew, that was an experience. Anyway. Anyway, I was singing that song. I'm walking, y'all. And the more I sung it, a better understanding I got of it, which is weird. I wrote it. And, oh, brilliance. I put Ron Jackson's shows. I put it up on my page. The man is brilliant. He is a brilliant guitarist. You know, when I wrote I'm walking, y'all. When I was growing up, didn't I tell y'all in East New York when we finally moved over to Montauk Street, where the African Americans own their own homes? And that was the first African American landlord we ever had, and the only decent landlord that I've had in my childhood in East New York. Other than that, honey, we had Central European landlords. We had rats, we had roaches, we had everything. And that broad was there to pick up her money. So, I'm telling you, when we moved into this African American's house on Montauk Avenue, it was the best house ever. My mother died when we was living in that house. Yep. And it was owned by an African American man. That's why I can't go along with y'all when y'all talk about we can't get together, we don't help one another. I can't get on that train with y'all. That's not what I know of us. No, it's not. That African American man hadn't accepted my mother's public assistance money to stay there, we would not have had or been able to move to a nice apartment because of redlining. They would only send us, or we would only be accepted by. Now I know how it is. The reason why we were put in the area of East New York where we were is because of redlining. Everybody who has a decent apartment, I'm talking about those Central European white people, the vanillas, whatever you want to call them, Rice Springs, they made sure to tell us no. So we had to go in those horrible, awful places. Just like I told you, my father and uncles and them wound up in the Korean War because they made sure not to hire them, to make them go and fight a war. You don't know the villainy of these people. You don't know. The hate for us is in every cult on this earth. Dark spirit, cursed people, demon people. Really? Hatfield and McCoy shit. So I was thinking this morning about Mississippi and stuff and Jim Crow. And I said, y'all don't even see how it is. Hatfields and McCoy don't change much. Remember, we're the ones that change the music. They don't change their music. We would still be listening to that drab, old ass, 1,000-year-old musical and musical instruments if it was up to them. They do not change easily. We change. We hear a song one way, we change and make it something else. We listen to your poem this way, we change it to something else. It's a foundation to grow on. But for them, it's the foundation, it's the end of the road, that's it. Kapooey. So, people in Jacksonville or Mississippi, Alabama, where they get ready to start that Jim Crow. The dangers of that is the Hatfields and McCoys copy off one another. I remember when I was doing playwriting, and there was a certain style that you're supposed to use because it's worked. It has worked. It has worked for years. It has worked for years. They don't want to change. It has worked for years. That's what they are. So they do the same thing over and over again. So let me tell you, I went to school in Charleston, South Carolina. And I will tell you, they ain't teach you too much. It's more by who you know than what you know. So the kids at the high school who had parents who were well connected, didn't matter what they know. They were going to go to college. They were going to go to graduate. They was going to go on. Stupid as a stone, walking in the walls, it don't matter. Their parents had some kind of connection, or the father graduated from the college, and you going to graduate and go to college, and that's the way it is. And everybody else was dumb. And I can even go back further to go to school in East New York. Everybody came from somewhere, especially Central European. That's what we learned. Hitler, the torment of the Jewish people. Yes, in the public school, that's what it was. And I remember asking, where did I come from? Second grade. Oh, where did I come from? Third grade. Oh, where did I come from? Left back. Third grade. Where did I come from? Fourth grade. No answers. No answers. None. Always subject change. So, I kind of put it together then I wasn't being taught nothing. Because, or I was taught to idolize. Because that's also where we learned that the Jewish people were the special people. Maybe one of my sociology classes or something like that. I think I was in IS 292. It was just to idolize. Idolize everything that's European, everything that's white. That's what I learned in school, idolization. But when I went down south, I didn't even learn that. That's why I took nursing. Because I wanted to be in a course where I would have to learn something of science, something of grafting, something of it. I could learn sewing, hair doing, tailoring, cooking, building, working on a car, and that's it. But being a mechanic in a town where nobody can afford to buy cars, you ain't making no money. And that's Mississippi. That's the red state. That's what that Jim Crow is. Now, to my understanding, the white people are separating. The white people are separating because black people in that part, they can't come to the conclusion. They can't run the government. They're just too busy fighting amongst themselves. So I know exactly what it is. It's the cults. I've seen it in action. I lived in Mount Vernon. Predominantly African Americans, brown people, and it's the same thing. One cult, the Methodist cult, wants one thing, but the Baptist cult wants another. But the Catholic cult wants this. Then the Jewish cult wants that. And the Islamic cult wants this. And when you put them down the table, all African Americans, all brown skin people, when you put them at the table, no cults agree. They don't agree. They're not meant to agree. I remember being small, learning that this cult ain't the cult of the religion. That cult ain't the cult of the religion. Well, so how could you possibly sit down and come to one accord? How can you be on the same level in the family when they belong to different cult members? You don't. You separate. But then you fool yourself and tell you that the cult is to bring you closer together. Oh, ancestors. So, that's why Jim Crow is there. And I just don't want the other states to get it twisted. Ha! Ancestors said, tell them, don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. We ain't all like them. We wasn't all groomed to be auto mechanics in a town where nobody can afford to buy a car. We all weren't trained to be house builders in a city where there's no money to build anything. So you see how the Hatfields and McCoys set them up? You're trained, that's when you're in school, you're trained a trade that you'll never be able to use to survive on. And that's what Mississippi, Alabama, as far as African Americans are, any of those rich states. Because that's the school system. Whew. Yeah, y'all, 20 minutes down. Ooh. Cause if I stop walking, y'all, they cut me up until I'm just a nose. I'm walking, y'all, trying to save my feet and toes. Yeah, I said I'm walking, y'all, trying to stay ahead of the sugar cane. If I stop walking, y'all, the cane gonna trip me up. Yeah, come walk with me. Save your feet and toes. Yeah, I said come walk with me. Save your feet and toes. Cause if I stop walking, y'all, they'll cut me up until I'm just a nose. Yeah, come walk with me and save your toes and feet. Yeah, I said come walk with me. Save your toes and feet. Cause when you walk with me, you can eat the food you want to eat. I'm walking, y'all, trying to save my feet and toes. I said I'm walking, y'all, trying to save my feet and toes. Cause if I stop walking, y'all, they cut me up until I'm just a nose. Yeah, y'all, we doing HR 40 for the last time this week. I just wasn't prepared ahead of time. Yeah, I said I'm walking, y'all, trying to stay ahead of the sugar cane. If I stop walking, y'all, give me a minute. The cane y'all can go ahead up. Yeah, and do what y'all do. Come walk with me. Yeah. Save your feet and toes. Yeah, I said come walk with me. Save your feet and toes. Okay, hold on. Cause if I start walking, y'all, they'll cut me up until I'm just a nose. Yeah, come walk with me and save your toes and feet. Yeah, I said, come walk with me. Save your toes and feet. Fair use. Cause when you walk with me, you can eat the food you want. Ms. Jackson Lee continues. I am pleased with the more than 350 organizations, CEOs, scholars. All right. We can't do it. I'm trying to tell you. I listen to this thing, and it is fine. I bring it down here, and it is kapooey. Well, let me listen to what I have. I want to start with Miss Jackson Lee continues, but if that's what I got, that's what we're going to start from. Jackson Lee continues. Starting from the second page. I am pleased with the more than 350 organizations, CEOs, scholars, state and local officials. I don't know. Upstairs, the place fine. I come down here and understanding the era of slavery in this country. The 13th Maybe the ancestors call them BS. This is the last time I'm trying to say. Let us pass H.R. 40, the Commission to Study and Develop Reparation Proposal for African Americans Act. Mr. Speaker, I am pleased I ain't gonna play it no more. H.R. 40, the Commission to Study and Develop Reparation Proposal for African Americans Act. And it goes back. This legislation was first introduced by retired Member of Congress John Conyers of Michigan in 1989 and was intended to examine the institution of slavery in the colonies and the United States from 1619 to the present, and further recommend appropriate remedies. Since the initial introduction of the legislation, its proponents have made substantial progress in evaluating the discussion of reparation and reparatory justice at the national level and joining the mainstream international debate on the issues. Though some have tried to deflect the importance of these conversations by focusing on individual monetary compensation, the real issue is whether and how this if them people in Mississippi had some money, they can buy houses. They can buy. They can take that money and put it to the town. They can put them folks to work. But then, remember, them folks is turned out. Legislation, resolution, after enslavement with nothing. We are moving and when they got something, they destroyed it. Today, there are more people at the table, more activists, more scholars, more CEOs, more state and local officials, and more members of Congress. However, despite this progress, the election of the first American president of African descent, the legacy of slavery lingers heavily in this nation. While we have focused on the societal effects of slavery and segregation, its continuing economic implications remain largely ignored by mainstream analysis. These economic issues are the root cause of many critical issues in the African American community. I want all that money, God. Healthcare and criminal justice save him, including policing policies. The call for reparation represents a commitment to. That's all right. Next time, the ancestors sent his ass down them stairs. Down the marble stairs. Communities and American society. Over the last several years, we have had a distinguished academic and activist panel from the National African American Reparations Commission dive into some of the most salient points in the So I have to go. I looked them up. I am supporting this effort by continuing to hold the annual reparation perspective at the annual legislative conference of the Congressional Black Caucus. I believe that H.R. 40 is a crucial piece of legislation because it goes on exploring the economic implications of slavery and segregation. No, don't look at Mississippi. I had no money.
Commission to also examine the moral and social.
And then I said, oh, we breaking up. We white people got money. You always had it.
Aims to study the impact of slavery.
We can't even get reparation. I assure you, slap a couple of $1 million on them people from Alabama, and the whole shit will change.
And the present day. The commission would also make recommendations concerning any form at the national level and joining the mainstream international debate on the issues. Though some have tried to deflect the importance of these conversations by focusing on individual monetary compensation, the real issue is whether and how this nation can come to grips with the legacy of slavery that still infects current society. Through legislation, resolution, news, and litigation, we are moving closer to making more strides in the movement towards reparation. Today, there are more people at the table, more activists, more scholars, more CEOs, more state and local officials, and more members of Congress. However, despite this progress, the election of the first American president of African descent,
so I see.
the legacy
remember I told you, it just looping upstairs, it works fine. I bring it down here, and it's a problem. So, that's it. The first day you got the best of it. And after that, I listen upstairs, I make sure everything is connected, I bring it down here. Ain't starting in the beginning. Added 3 minutes the other day. It's just a 7-minute clip. It made it 10 minutes. It started looping down here. Upstairs it plays straight through. I sit there with the paper. Well, not everybody can swallow bullshit, and apparently the ancestors can't. Because what a difference it would make in the Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, all those places. You're bullshitting around. Investigating. What the fuck you gotta investigate for? Just look. But then, like I said, I remember marching for a week because the Board of Education wouldn't give us lockers. This is Charleston, South Carolina. Plaster was falling down into our lunch trays, like falling all over the place. A gym roof that was supposed to be built on a gym, the roof never was put on. And we marched. But not with any of my friends. They didn't march. They didn't care. They didn't go to school for school. They went to school because the parents would get in trouble. To learn a trade. But if they can learn a trade, they don't care nothing about nothing falling down on them. Or not having a place to put their books safely. That was none of their concern. Those other Mississippi people, African Americans living in red states. My mother marched in Washington, so I knew that it would bring about change. And apparently, quite a few hundred of the students at the school did the same thing because we had a 3-block procession, if not more. We had to walk 2 in place, orderly. And it was about a mile, maybe and a half to the Board of Education and back. But when I talked to the friends I'm on Facebook with now, when I asked them about that march, they have no idea it happened. So Wanda, I have to go. That's why I want to hurry and finish this song. It's beautiful. We get out there. Like I say, Ron Jackson, brilliant guitarist. Brilliant. Brilliant. He guides me through it. He knows the changes in the song. Everything. So once we get this song done, we're going to do a deeper dive. And I won't be reading any more HR 40s, because apparently if I bring it down here to y'all, the ancestors going to mess with the computer. That's what energy does. Now, how they supposed to? They got no money, no jobs, no training, because the education is... I was down there. Y'all don't read these Hatfields and McCoy. They don't change. They do the same fuck shit all the time. But now they gonna break off, because we got the money. Yes. Over generations. Ancestors, I don't know why you just can't get down there and stomp them Hatfields and McCoys out. Mess around my computer. You supposed to be jumping up down on Mitch McConnell's heart right about now. Squeezing it. So, they want to think back on those rich states. They may not have money to clean their water. They don't have money to take care of their roads and their streets, their sewer system. They don't have money probably to keep the stoplights on. They don't have money to keep the stores in business. But I'm going to tell you something. They got money to go Sunday to them cults and fill those coffers. Honey, they got money to go to them cults and buy those cult leaders cars, houses, anything, vacation trips. By design. By design. Because you heard, Black History Month, the enslaved people weren't all into that religion. They would allow them. Remember, they were the cursed ones in the cults. I'm not calling them religion. Cults. And they trained them well. So at times I was thinking this morning, it was just like, listen, it ain't really no need for us to worry about it. Because they got Jesus Christ. And to them, that's all they need. They don't need a stoplight to stop cars from crashing. They ain't got enough money to buy a car. They don't need no community center for their young people. Just give them guns and they just shoot each other. Then there ain't no more young people. Problem solved. By design. But I'm going to tell you something. I'll put it out here right now. Keep that shit where y'all is. Keep that shit where y'all is. You hate Phils and McCoys. Hatfields and McCoys. Them and the Republican. Keep that there. Keep that there. Because I know that TikTok is finna be the fuse that finally, you know what I see? When I was growing up, they used to always put on these Greek movies about the Greek gods or the Roman gods or gods that sit on high and move everybody around. And then they would, when they would attack, they would like wake up the dead, and you see all these skeletons on chariots, burning, raging through towns and burning up stuff. Wake up, ancestors. Find a chariot, set aflame, and go from sea to goddamn shining sea. And make sure to stop in Texas. Make sure to stop in Texas. And get them low-life Hatfields and McCoys. Yeah. TikTok is going to be the thing. Because TikTok ain't under the control. Remember, they mad at the Chinese people. I'm telling you, they must be extorting them. Because they sure was bringing them in. Especially when I was younger. They was bringing them in there. When I say like a young adult. They was bringing them exports in. Heck, they wouldn't give that money to an African American business. But they would sure throw it at these Chinese people. Oop. Wouldn't give it to us, but I'll give it to them. Okay? Oh no. We couldn't go to college and learn anything about building a car. I mean, now we couldn't then. That's why we ain't got no car manufacturing company. They made sure. Please. And they do the same thing all the time. They're not changing. We gotta be smart in this. Just like, okay, Hatfields, McCoy, political ambitions, Dems and Republicans, lie, steal, lie, steal, lie, suppress us. But I'm telling you, if our ancestors could get together and become one big energy foot and kick the hell out of this penal colony until these folks can wake up. Y'all know I listen to podcasts. There's one podcast that kept saying, I don't understand why the laws in this for punishment is so severe. I was like, you really is a dummy, ain't you? The penal system was meant to punish us. That's why it's so severe. The first thing they did with Alec Murdoch, Alec Murdoch, is to take the death penalty off the table. Though him, his father, his grandfather have prosecuted many African Americans and had them killed for dumb shit. But the minute he was brought in, that's not a white man's punishment. The execution of death is for the poor white and African Americans. And that's what you saw with the Murdoch trial. You're going to see that with Lori Vallow trial. They ain't poor white trash. They ain't poor white trash. And they ain't African Americans. They ain't going to the death thing. They ain't doing that. They ain't going to be killed by the state. Killed by the state is specifically put in place for African Americans. They say something about Ohio. Oh, the laws, it's so horrible. When you get to, I was like, y'all are really that stupid. It was for if we came in that state and put a toe out of place, they'd be able to string our asses up. Oh, but now y'all caught in it, huh? It was all right when it was just us. Hatfield McCoys, honey. Lies, lies, lies. Oh, yeah. I don't want to get Jesse Jackson was known for I Am Somebody. That cult leader, he pointed to turn I Am Somebody because, and that was in the 70s, 80s, so not even 50 years ago. They were still thinking that we were animals. Harvard, they say the best minds in schools in the world. And you can't look at me and tell I don't walk on 4 feet. And y'all keep running your asses to them doctors. They don't see you walking in as a human being. In their mind's eye, you are on all fours. You are on all fours. If they're in the cult, you run into them, primary care provider. I told them I'm my primary care provider. How the hell a bunch of people who hate my guts is so ingrained in them to hate my guts, they can't heal me. And they ain't healing you. Use an experiment. But you can heal yourself. I'm looking at people who are free from enslavement. Never had a doctor. Never had no health care. Nothing. They still alive. Y'all are dying like crazy. And it's because y'all go to the doctor. Half of y'all ain't got no breast disease. Other half ain't got no womb. Because you're a primary care physician. How can a person that think you goddamn slime be your primary care physician? How can a person who can't tell you from a giraffe, how is that person a primary care physician for you? You're a giraffe to him. He's not going to treat you for the human being that you are. And that's why I'm walking to Ghana. That's why I want to see my doctor. That's because one thing I know for sure. Y'all say he may not be the best. One thing I know for sure. When he looks at me, he knows I'm a human being. He know I'm not no animal. He know I'm not no cursed person. He know I ain't no dark light. That African doctor that looks at me knows that I am a human being. And that is more than I've ever got from entering the doctor's office here. Here you're an animal. If he have a good day, he feel like giving you something. Maybe it's a good trial period coming on. Maybe if he can get enough people to take the test, he can get extra money. Maybe you in a trial for something you don't even know you're in a trial for. Because he ain't got to ask you. Why would a doctor have to ask an animal? So that's what I want to walk the Ghana for. I said, even if I go to the dentist. Remember here, they poisoned me for 30 years. They told me I had to take all these antibiotics to make me sick. If not, I would die in the dentist's office, in the dentist chair. And then they came out 30 years later and said, oh, ha, did we say that? We didn't really mean it. But what about all the antibiotics you put in my body all those years? Just so I can go to the dentist. I had to stop going to the dentist to stop getting antibiotics. Let's knock out this 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I want to see a doctor who looks at me and says, all right, human, let's see what's wrong with you. I don't want to go no more to cattle prodders that prod and poke you. Hell, that's the case. We can go to veterinarians. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And 1, good luck. Yeah. I want to get a doctor who look at me and instantly knows I'm a human being. That's where I am somebody came from. Because we were considered nobody. We were told across the whole universe that we were nothing and nobody. And Jesse Jackson came out to tell the young kids, you are somebody. And that's the people you going, their primary care physician. His primary care is for you not to be on this earth. It's in his blood. Ooh. We did it, y'all. Whew. I am sweating. That 45 minutes is something, ain't it? That 45 minutes is something. Like, comment, share, tell an uncle, tell an auntie, tell a cousin, tell a friend. Subscribe. I don't know. That HR 40 thing. Upstairs fine, downstairs not. I'm looking at the ancestors, so I think they doing something. They like, don't even play that BS no more. Thanks for coming on the walk. Like, comment, share, tell uncle, tell auntie, tell a cousin, tell a friend. Have a great weekend. See you Monday.